10 decluttering questions that I've never answered before. I didn't think there was decluttering questions out there I hadn't answered. So I have 10 ready to go. You can leave some in the comments too if you can think of others that I haven't answered before. Also, I want to circle back and answer some questions after my video last week about showing the park models that I'm thinking about purchasing. I was not expecting that to be as controversial as it was, but there were some good questions that came up about, mobile homes. How well are they insulated, using it in the winter, and that kind of stuff. So really good questions and good points. So I'll definitely answer those questions as well. I want to let you know that our Take Your House Back course is on sale right now for just $94. So that's the course that I do with Cass from Clutterbug and Dana from A Slob Comes Clean. I wonder if you realize how much stress your home is causing you. Until you get it fully decluttered and get on the other side, I don't think that we realize the amount of stress and unease our home is costing us. I was revisiting some of the principles from the book A Monk's Guide to a Clean House and Mind. And in it, one of the quotes was that when we are continually going to bed with all of these tasks undone, all of the cleaning and household things that we feel like we should be getting done in a day, it said that when we go to bed with that sense of not having things done, kind of feeling like a failure, like a loser, like we're constantly behind, feeling stressed and a little bit anxious, that it carries with us through the night. And then often we wake up the next day feeling the same thing. And I'm like, wow, I never like correlated that to like things not being done. I just thought that's how it is when you have a busy household and kids and you're trying to do all the things, like nothing's ever done. But as we've gotten our house decluttered and simplified, and it actually is possible to stay up on all of these household tasks and just all the things we have to do every day. And you can go to bed feeling like things are done. It might not be perfect, but they're done. How much peace of mind that actually gives you, and how then your home really can become a restful place where we reset and recharge, as opposed to something that just kind of amplifies our feelings of uneasiness. And so we live in such a busy, loud, noisy, chaotic world. We're so busy despite, our best efforts to keep things simplified and whatnot. But I do feel like if we can get our home to be this restful place where we come home, let our guard down, can relax and reset, that we can do all the busy and crazy, right? Like we're still selective, but it makes such a huge difference in our mental health, how we feel about ourselves. So anyways, all that to say, we really want to help you get your house decluttered. I don't like to self-promote, but I do believe that when it comes to decluttering, that Cass and Dana and myself are the dream team of decluttering. And so when you join Take Your House Back, you get the full course, like recorded videos that go step by step through decluttering your house. But the magic sauce are All Day Declutters. And so those happen 3 times a year. Our next one is coming up in 2 weeks on Saturday, May 3rd. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. all day, live guided decluttering. We're telling you what to get rid of, why you should get rid of it, why you shouldn't feel guilty about it. And so if you have not achieved your decluttering goals on your own over the past year, will you invest in yourself? Sign up, $94. That's for the full year. And then it's just $10 a year to renew after that. But you get the full course and you get these all day declutters that are just so impactful, where you can make huge progress in a day, really jumpstart your decluttering efforts. Again, will you invest that in yourself? Maybe ask for it for Mother's Day. There's a payment plan available as well. But I do believe that it will speed up your decluttering process. You're going to feel supported. We have so much fun while we're in there too. So you're going to have fun. You're going to feel seen and heard and understood and encouraged and inspired and motivated. Like all these things you've been like waiting to find you. We're going to bring it to you. We will bring the motivation and all of that. So just $94. There's a link in the description right now. If you've signed up in the past and you're like, oh no, is my membership expired? Just go to your email. We've been sending out emails about it, or you can email us as well. But we'll make sure, if you've already bought the course, we will make sure you are in and get access to the All Day Declutter coming up, because again, they're so powerful and it's so good and it's so fun. And if you don't like it, if you sign up and you're like, meh, wasn't for me, full year refund policy, because we believe in it so much. So you have a year to try it, use it. If you're like, I bought things before, I never log in or use it, that's fine. We'll just give you all your money back. We just want you to get your house decluttered. So just $94, just until May 3rd or May 2nd. I don't know. But make sure you get in soon so that we do some prep stuff ahead leading up to it. So you're prepared for the all day declutter. But also so you don't miss it because, well, time flies by, right? And it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Like truly one of the most powerful ways that we can come alongside you and help you. So, anyways, details in the description. Uh, all the places links should be. But let's talk about these 10 questions, decluttering questions that I've never answered before. They're kind of fun. So, number one, and this is a good one. Do you ever feel guilty for encouraging people to let go of sentimental items? No, not even a little bit, because I feel like sentimental items hold us hostage. And I know that they can be hard to declutter. I know that they're complicated and sticky, and there's like a lot of factors at play, like, well, my mom thinks I should keep this, or my grandma said this, or this, so they're complicated, but I think they hold us hostage. And so I love, I always talk about the book, Mac Paxton's book, Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff. He talks about the legacy list. So we pick out a handful of items that are super special and represent that person that we want to keep, that bring up happy memories. And then we let the other stuff go, because we should not live life looking backwards in the past. We should live life looking forward. And these sentimental stuff, it drags us back. It makes us feel guilty. We're always saying like, oh, I should be organizing this or caring for it better or sharing the memories or doing this or that. Ugh. Like, we don't have time for all of that stuff. So no, I don't feel guilty at all. And I'm going to encourage you to keep getting rid of more and more. The the memories are like in our head and heart, like we don't need all these physical reminders of it, in my humble opinion. Number two, what's the biggest decluttering myth that people still believe? I think it's that somehow this stuff is adding value to our lives. Um, you know, so it's hard to believe. I've been a minimalist for 10 years now. So gotten rid of 90% of our stuff. And it was awesome, especially when our kids were really little. And just so many benefits. But it was not until the past year or two when, life just got really lifey, that I appreciated it so much more, because I realized through all the difficult seasons that I've been through, stuff does not help at all. We need the bare necessities. We need some clothes and we need some kitchen things and a coffee maker and all that. All the rest of the stuff was not making my life better, easier. It didn't help navigate the hard seasons better. In fact, it was the opposite. It was making my life harder. So we've been marketing, and all of this leads us to believe like we need all this stuff and it makes life better and easier and all that. Not true. If we could get our heads wrapped around this idea that the less we have, the better we are, I think it would change the entire world. Number three, do you still feel imposter syndrome or like a messy person? So I've often said, like, hey, hi, I'm Dawn. I'm a former messy person, right? And so, again, talking about coming through just a really difficult season, there, especially this past fall, I felt like all of my systems were breaking down. And I was like, you teach people stuff this, and you're like, oh, minimalism saves everything. And this, and my email inbox is just so deep, and my action bin is so deep. And like, there's messes in places or wouldn't normally be messes. And I'm just like, see, you're still a messy person. Like, you can try to pretend like you're not. But as I started to come out of it and getting back on top again, I realized that no, actually, your systems were still working, because even through that, I was getting the most important things done every day. Now, I no longer allow my email to dictate whether it's been a successful day or not, right? But through it all, I got the most important things done that I needed to. I got a YouTube video out every Tuesday, like I've always committed. Our membership group, we were rock solid in there through that. Did a lot of other things fall? Yes. But the most important things with the kids for their activities, all that, they got done. And so a lot of other stuff fell, but it was strategically done now that I look back. And even, my action bin, I've showed, like, when we talk about paper systems, like my action bin, so full that there was stuff stacked on top of it, but all of the most important things were there. Like, they were all still going to one place. And when I was like, oh, I know my car tabs came in the mail. Where are they? They were in my action bin. And so even though it was deep, it was not saying that I'm failing. it was telling me like, "Oh, you're in a really chaotic season right now. You don't have as much bandwidth as you normally do to manage this kind of stuff." But if there is something truly important that you need or has to get done, it's still getting done and it's still in that place where you know where it is. And so I was tempted to kind of go back like, "Oh, well, yeah, Dawn, see, you're still messy." And then I realized like, no, actually, the systems are working. I have changed. I know myself. I have to keep very low inventory, especially in a difficult season. But no, I don't think I feel imposter syndrome anymore or like a messy person. So there is hope for all of us. Number 4, if you had to declutter your entire home in 24 hours, what would you do first? So the first thing I would do is rent a dumpster, and I would make sure I have lots of donation boxes, maybe schedule like a donation pickup, like through one of those services that will do that. Um, but I think having a dumpster would be the most important thing. And because again, we need to not feel so guilty about throwing stuff away because our donation centers are overflowing. We have overconsumed for so long. And then I would just use the 1 year rule. Like, have I used this in the past year? Do I know for sure I'll use it in an upcoming year? And if not, I would just go room by room, probably start in the kitchen and just like, I would have to have blinders on. And that is my criteria and just stick to it. And again, we cannot predict the future. So all we can use is past data. And so that's why the 1 year rule is so reliable. And so I would just put the blinders on, use that, and try to be very objective because, we all know, I mean, if you had to declutter your entire house in 24 hours, decision fatigue is real. Many of us have been like, I'm going to declutter all day Saturday, and we get like a half hour in and we're like drained, right? So I wouldn't actually recommend this, but that's where we have to have rules and criteria because we can't predict the future. And that's when we get in trouble of like, but what if? No, we are creatures of habit. We use the same 20% all the time. So those rules are actually very reliable. Number 5, is there anything you regret not decluttering sooner? Yeah, clothes. I hung on to clothes probably the longest, thinking like, well, I'm going to fit into these again, or this was super cute, or this was high quality, or you always wanted this and couldn't have it, and now you have it, so you should keep it. So clothes were definitely a thing. That was actually one of the only things I think I had a time will tell bin for, or two time will tell bins 4, I couldn't believe how many clothes I just kept carrying over and over and over, not realizing how much they mock us and make us feel bad about ourselves. So I've since let go of all of those. My motto is it has to fit and I feel good in for my today body. I love what Courtney Carver says. Like we dress our today body. Clothes are meant to fit us, not the other way around. And man, when we let go of like all those clothes with tags and that are guilty and identity clutter and all that, it feels so good to let those go. Is it possible to declutter too much? I don't think so. We've just gotten used to having so much stuff around us. I love reading like historical fiction and it's fascinating to me how little they lived with. And we used to sometimes talk about like going to like an Airbnb and how you'd kind of get that same experience. I feel like most of the Airbnbs we've been to like still have too much stuff in them. So most of us have been so far removed from living with like the bare necessities that it's very hard to imagine it and when we're fearful of it. But no, I actually don't think it's possible to declutter too much because anything that we would get rid of and be like, oh shoot, I guess I could have used that. You can go to a thrift store or marketplace and get it for very inexpensive and pretty quickly. So no, I don't think we have to worry about that. I think we have to worry about the opposite, not going far enough with our decluttering. If I can only do one decluttering task today, what should it be? Set the timer for 5 minutes and work on clearing your kitchen counters. I'm trying to remember where we were talking about this recently, but when we think about our kitchens, it is such an active space, like so much inventory. It is a place where there's the most active inventory exchange, like inventory coming in and out, and we're cooking and um, meal planning and grocery shopping and trying to remember stuff and not forget that we have it and don't let food go bad and all of that. And so I think we should all prioritize getting our kitchens highly decluttered because well groceries are so stinking expensive. Eating out is ridiculous right now, right? So we have to be cooking at home. We have to not be wasting food. Therefore, we have to be meal planning and being strategic with our grocery orders and all of that. And I couldn't believe when I got my kitchen decluttered how much more likely I was to cook at home. I actually enjoyed cooking at home more. I enjoyed involving the kids. It was easier to clean up. We didn't waste as much food. I kept very low food inventory, which helped our grocery budget. And so it just all snowballed into all of these benefits. So please, if you have not gotten your kitchen decluttered, prioritize that for the season of the type of cooking that you're doing right now, and let all the stuff go that you're not using right now, so that your kitchen functions really well, is efficient, and that you can really manage all the inventory in there well. What's one area of your home that still feels like a struggle to keep clutter free? I mean, flat surfaces. In my old house, the dining room table. Currently, like at my parents' house, kitchen counters probably, and the dining room table probably too. Flat surfaces. They're always going to be a thing, but it's again reminding ourselves that there's a difference between a mess and clutter. So in the past, when there was a lot of stuff out on surfaces and all that, it was a lot of deferred decisions, things I didn't know what to do with. We've actually gotten really good at finding homes for everything, and knowing where stuff goes. A time will tell paper bin is very helpful for paper that tends to float around. And so I always have to remind myself, like, even if a surface looks kind of messy and I'm like, oh, it happened again, I'm like, it'll only take a few minutes to pull it back together. So mess is much different than clutter. And so we just have to get in the habit of continually clearing them. It can be frustrating when we're like, I've worked so hard to declutter this space and it keeps accumulating stuff. That's where the habits come into play. And once you practice it and keep doing it, it does get much, much easier. I mean, now I don't even think about it when we're cleaning up at the end of the day or whenever we clean up. It's just not a non-issue. It doesn't stress me out. It's not a big deal. I mean, sometimes I'm still like, oh, but mostly it's just kind of like, yeah, that's what flat surfaces do. That's what we talk about in our membership group. Like, oh, those flat surfaces are just doing what they do, right? So we just keep at it, keep working on our family members too. What's one thing you decluttered that completely changed your daily life? Clothes, hands down. Creating a uniform, having the criteria that everything in my closet must fit and I must feel good in it. So I've kind of been sharing, I'm kind of transitioning away from the black. I was in a black season there for a while again, which is totally fine. It's easy, whatever. And now I've just been going more back to like the tans and oatmeals and taupe colors, which feels good, especially for spring. But my criteria is the same no matter what. Everything must fit and I must feel good in it, so that when I walk up to my closet in the morning to get dressed, there's no hard decisions. I don't have to use any extra brain power. It's like, which tan shirt am I putting on today, right? Super easy because everything fits my today body. So again, kitchen first if you have not declared your kitchen, and then getting your wardrobe highly simplified and removing all the excess clothing around it. Most of us have lots of clothes and nothing to wear, right? And so we pare it down to what fits, we feel good in, get rid of all the other stuff. You can just pack it away in time will tell bins. But man, game changer, changes everything. What's the biggest decluttering rule you secretly break? It's probably getting donations out right away. So I will still drive around with donations for weeks in the back of my car. There's a pile at my parents' house in the basement of still some stuff from the pantry that needs to go to the donation center. So that's probably still a weakness of mine. But I do think it's important to, Dana from A Slob Comes Clean, she'll say like, don't be a hero when you're decluttering and donating. Often we want to like bring it to the best place. And there's one thrift store that I love to support and it's small and local and all that. But they have a smaller window of donation hours. They're a little bit pickier about what they take. And so I really just have to be like, just go to Goodwill and drop it off and move on with life. Right. So, and I won't always be in that season, so it's fine. But yeah, that's definitely the rule that I still break. All right, I am curious if you have any questions that you think I haven't answered yet. If you put a question mark in front of it, it makes it a little bit easier for me to grab. A question for you. I'm wondering how to relate to someone who does not see the point in decluttering. Audrey, I would not waste my precious energy on them. It's kind of the same, I like to think of it the same as if you feel like someone needs to lose weight or go on a diet or eat a healthier way, and you're like, hey, I started, going low carb and I feel so good. And they're like, good for you. Like, if they're not at all interested, There's not really much you can do or say to change their mind. Everyone gets to that point at a different time, and so I would focus on helping people that, like, are open and looking for more information and looking for help in that area. Do you think if we declutter 80% and keep 20%, we will still only use 20% of what we have? Yeah, I love this question. Um, yeah, I mean, I think 20% saying, for a while the statistic was that as Americans we only use 20% of the stuff in our home. I think because the inventory has gone up so much, especially during COVID, man, people were buying like cray cray, right? That I think we probably use 5 to 10%. And I do find for myself as I declutter more and more and more, I'm pretty choosy about the things I use. I like to find things that are just multi-purpose, high quality. I don't have to like think much to use them. And so, yeah, I think that percentage of what we use does keep going down and down as we declutter more. I think that's a fun question. I have clothes that are 10 pounds too small for me. Should I store them in a tote or declutter? So I would pack away the true favorites, highest quality. If you get down to that weight again, you'll be glad to have them. Declutter anything that was iffy and you're like, I couldn't believe how many clothes I kept thinking like, oh, when I get back down to this size, then I'll wear them again. And then I'd get to that size and I put them on and I'm like, no, I still don't like it. Like it's still, oh yeah, I remember. Oh, it's not comfortable. I have to adjust it, all that. So keep the true favorites in a bin and then declutter the rest. Because the other thing too is once we get down to that weight, then we generally want to get some new clothes anyways. And that's totally fine. Totally fine. Do you get accused a lot of decluttering people's stuff when something is missing? Yes, 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 all the time. Oh my goodness, all the time. Yeah, people can't find something in the house and then, oh, mom decluttered it, even though I didn't. I'm pretty good about not decluttering people's stuff without permission. And then I go help them find it and they're like, oh yeah, it was there. So yes, that is a common pitfall as you've been doing a lot of decluttering. Kimberly says, when it comes to kids' clothes, do you store outgrown clothes for hand-me-downs later? I have two boys, 12 and 8, and tend to feel the need to save the older sons nicer clothes. Yeah, so yes. But what I had to do was limit it to one tote. So, we're kind of fortunate because we had two girls and two boys. So I had one tote of girls' clothes that Adeline handed down to Maggie, or if we would, whatever, get clothes, and then one tote of boys' clothes for to be handed down. Or like my cousin would give me clothes, and her son was a few years older, so it wouldn't always fit Corbin right away, and it wasn't ready for Gage. So then those would go in there, but one tote of clothes for hand me downs, and we have to have some kind of container or limit it. But yeah, no, I did want to have some hand me downs. So Rosie says, I struggle to get rid of kids' books. Talk me through this, please. Well, a couple things. Kids actually love repetition. So kids don't need a lot of variety in children's books. We want them to be smart and love reading and all of that. We don't need a lot of books to achieve that. And especially as our kids started getting a little older, I was just downloading books on my Kindle app that I was reading to them before bedtime at night. And so let that library store the inventory. You don't need it. And you'll actually, so Ariel, that awkward mom on YouTube, she did, like I challenged her with this. She cut the books in her son's room down to 20. That's actually recommended in Simplicity Parenting. And she said her son started reading more when there were fewer books. So we get it kind of twisted in our brain that to raise kids that love to read and love books, that we have to have a lot of books. Let the library store the inventory, keep around 20 in your house, and that is all that you need. Age appropriate. Ashley says, what do you recommend for storage for necessities, work supplies, crock pot, etc. When I have no storage, I only have two bedroom closets. So Ashley, unfortunately, you aren't going to have the luxury of keeping a lot of extra inventory. So you're only going to be able to keep the necessities if you don't have a lot of storage space. And then I would, if there's something like a crock pot, yeah, I would store that like in a bedroom closet or somewhere else. We did that. Some stuff went under our bed or down to the basement to get stored. So there are times where we have to store stuff. Then we added that armoire in the extra bedroom. So that served that same purpose. But you're going to have to be really, really, really selective about what you keep, and like, do you really need it, or are you keeping it just because like you think you should have it? So Madison says, a little personal, are you doing okay? I pray for you all the time. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all your kind comments on last week's video too and everything. It's still like I'm trying to choose my words carefully. Um, let's see. I I'm doing okay. I think I am still surprised how up and down my emotions are, how I can be like, "Okay, I'm in a good mood. Things are going well. The sun's shining. Like I have so much to look forward to." And then like something will happen and like 15 minutes I am just feeling sad and down and kind of anxious and I get frustrated because I'm like, "When am I going to feel like myself again?" And so I know so many of you are like, "Dawn, it's normal. Don't be so hard on yourself, right? That's normal. That's normal." And I'm like, "I know, but I'm just ready to kind of like I've always been a pretty like optimistic person and like things can happen and I can weather them, pretty okay and be like, well, it happened for a reason or this will come of it or whatever. And now I'm just like, see, now that happened, right? Someone asked like, how's the dishwasher? I mean, I got my parents a dishwasher for Christmas. What is it? April 22nd? Like we still have been having problems and trying to get a repair person out. I'm like, yeah, of course, right? I'm going to show some wallpaper that I put up in my mom's entryway. We woke up the next morning and there was like bubbles all over it. And I'm like, why? Why are these things happening? And I just wouldn't have like thought those things in the past. So yeah, I think it's just par for the course right now, but I can definitely relate to anyone who if you've come through like a difficult season, just feeling like when am I going to get my capacity back? When are my emotions just going to level out a little bit? And I'm well supported. I'm doing all the things. Like someone asked about like self-care. I'm like, I kind of feel guilty for how much self-care. It'll be the middle of the afternoon. And I'm like, I really feel like I just have to go take a nap right now because I can't even function, you know? And I've been going to the gym and walking. I'm so glad it's getting nice outside. My preference is to walk outside, but even when it was cold in Minnesota, I would go every day and walk. Um, I'm so glad my therapist was kind of like, okay, you're going through a tough season. So, like, you could turn to these not so healthy ways to cope, or you could figure out, something else you're going to do. And I'm like, all right, I'll go to the gym every day and walk on the treadmill, and make sure I have people around me supporting me and all that. And so, yeah, so I feel like I'm like doing all the right things and have the right people around me and all that. And it's still just kind of like, darn it. Like, when will it be normal again? So thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Andy says Dawn gets accused for missing stuff in my house all the time. Did Dawn take it? That's awesome. Is the payment plan option for the $94 option as well, or is it for the full price only? Yeah. It's the payment plan is for the discounted price as well. It might be $1 or two different, but it's right in there. So yes, man, I'm telling you, please, if you have not been able to get your house decluttered on your own, please join Take Your House Back. We'll have fun, but we will get you going again. It'll be so good. Barbara says, I'm at a place where I really like wearing pants with the elastic waist for ease, but I have so many nice pants that are zipper and button closure. Do I get rid of all those or hold on to a few? I would hold on to a few. You never know when there might be an occasion you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do a button again. But man, I'm with you. Like comfort first right now, right? And they make so many great options that still look nice. So yeah, keep a couple maybe, but then yeah, let go of the rest. Advice for reducing shopping and being happy content with what I already have at home. Kaylee, such a good question. I heard this quote today and it has just been rolling around my brain. It was so good. It says that joy, I want to get it right. Joy is being in a state of not wanting. Joy is being in a state of not wanting. And so if we look at it that way, I would say being happy or content is that similar feeling, right? Of feeling like, you know what? Right here, right now, I have everything that I needed to be happy. And so I feel like I got to that place by decluttering, because when we declutter, we kind of like loosen our grip on all of these physical things. But then I also had to realize, where am I still being tempted to want? And so Instagram, influencers, the dollar spot at Target. I mean, I pretty much rely on store pickup now for most stores, so I'm not going in and being tempted. We have to remember that marketers spend billions of dollars to get us to buy. So when we walk into Target, they know the colors to use, the smells, how high to put the displays, where to put the displays, where you're most likely to be impulsive. I mean, When you go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls, that aisle for the checkout, oh my goodness, could they be any more strategic with putting impulse buys there, right? And so we have to, so I think it's two part: decluttering, decluttering, decluttering. That has helped me to be very content with what I have, even just feeling like my house is good enough, because as I got it decluttered, it felt like it was good enough. And I wasn't just looking at all these other beautiful spaces anymore, but then also being aware of the influences that are still causing you to feel discontent, or like your stuff isn't nice enough, or you need different stuff, and all of that. Trisha says, I have no drawers in my bathroom, only shelving and large under sink storage. What are some options for dividing up these spaces for organization? Yeah, so I didn't used to love the pull-out drawer things. You can, like, get them on Amazon for, under cabinet spaces like that, or under sinks, and now I'm starting to really like them a lot. I'm gonna show a video coming up actually here in the Airbnb of doing under the kitchen sink. So I would look for some high quality of those, like, shelves that pull out and they're divided, to divide up the space a little bit and create some storage. Due to the attachment to my things, memories, regrets, identity, scarcity mindset, creative projects for years, decluttering has overwhelmed and impeded the process for me. Um, I have made gains recently, but it's like some catch 22. The more I get rid of, the greater my sensitivity to clutter. Oh, yes, yes, for all of us. Should I be concerned? And is the clutter the cause of my anxiety, or a symptom of it? Oh, this is such a good question. It could be either. So yes, as we declutter, we become hyper aware of our sensitivity to clutter. I am so sensitive to clutter now, I realize, especially in a hard season. And is it the cause of your anxiety or a symptom of it? Cause might be a strong word, but it's certainly not helping it. Again, realizing that when we have things sitting out, unfinished projects, things that remind us of sad times, that is keeping us in these like ruminating thoughts, feeling like things are incomplete. It really messes with our self confidence, feeling like, oh, I can never keep stuff together. I can't do this. But when we get our house highly simplified to the point we can stay up on all these tasks every day, I feel like that actually goes hand in hand with being able to navigate the lifey things that still come up. So I think all of this is completely normal, what you're experiencing, and I hope you use it as encouragement and permission to keep going further with decluttering until your home feels peaceful. And then I think once our home is peaceful, we feel more peaceful. There's still going to be bumps where we're like feeling anxious or stressed, but I feel like we come down from them quicker. We can more easily see what's causing them. Like, oh, this relational breakdown is, instead of being like, is it the clutter? Is it my sister? Is it the kids? Is it it's just harder to decipher when we're in a really cluttered environment. I'm having the worst time trying to organize my craft room. I put up a ton of shelves. Any suggestions on where to begin? I would first want you to take the Clutterbug quiz and know what kind of organizer you are. Do you like visual, out of sight? I'm guessing if you put up shelves, you're probably a visual organizer, but also, are you a micro or macro? So if you go to clutterbug.ca, you can take the Clutterbug quiz for free. But Cass will have a lot of great tips when it actually comes to organizing. And again, a lot of it would be based on your actual Clutterbug style. But craft rooms are tricky because often we start to try to organize when we still have too much inventory. So be really aware of, if you, as you're going to organize, if you still have too much stuff in there. Claire says, my husband has 100 shirts. How can I persuade him to have less? I like to model it first, and then start with like a couple. Like, hey, these still have the tags on. Hey, I've noticed you haven't wore these for a couple of years. Hey, I know the last time you wore this was that wedding, whatever. And so start with a couple. It's definitely a process. Or you could use Cass's approach that she said she sometimes uses with Joe, her husband, to go in and declutter a section or amount of them, and pull them out and say, hey, I want to streamline our closet a little bit. I've noticed it's kind of full and hard to get things in and out. I pulled these shirts out because you haven't worn them in the past year. I don't think you care for them anymore. Whatever you might say the criteria was. I would like to let these go. Are there any that you would like to keep? So it's already got the momentum going out. And then even if he chooses a handful to put back in, you're still net positive. All right. Yeah, could someone just declutter my house for me? Oh, girlfriend, that would be wouldn't that be so nice? I mean, you can pay people to do that, but well, and it's probably gonna get recluttered again because you didn't go through the process, right? How to manage what kids have created. I've decluttered toys and they're so creative, which is amazing, but they're so attached to their artwork and creations. Yeah, they are and they aren't. I think kids sometimes need permission to let them know. Like I would often tell our kids, like, the joy is in the creating, not storing the created. And so we would set boundaries, especially with Gagey, like where you can store your creations. This is where they can live. If it's starting to fill up. So, I mean, it's a container concept, right? Then let's pick out a couple old ones. And you'll see over time, the old ones, they are not so attached to. And we would have a rule like if they'd create like big, boxes with all kinds of cool stuff in them, when they were not playing it with it anymore, I'd be like, okay, here's your warning. If you don't play with this in the next few days and show me that you're still using it and interested in it, then we're going to let it go. And then it'd be like 2 days later, I'm like, okay, if you don't play with it at all. And sometimes they would like, for a little bit. And then I'd be like, okay, the timer starts over again. But it's a process. But this is really helpful to teach our kids how to go through this process. Like, wow, this is so cool that you created it. And we can't keep everything. So container concept and practicing it with them. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I feel like I can't fix any of our problems from here, but the way I can make our life better is buying things. So I anxiety shop. How to get out of the shopping declutter loop. Ooh, yeah. Well, I would challenge yourself to not go into a store or a thrift shop or a garage sale for a month. Um, you can reset this in your brain. It's a little painful. The first week's the hardest, but then it gets easier. But, yeah, I mean, it really depends where you're at. Like, if you would have the bandwidth to go cold turkey, you might need someone to help hold you accountable, but that would be the best way is to, like, actually stop buying for a month and reset, like, those dopamine receptors in your brain of how you're getting dopamine and find other ways, healthier ways to do it, like walking, taking a bath, talking to a friend on the phone, going for a walk with a friend, baking something. For the Take Your House Back course, would it be live on YouTube? Yes. Also, your hair looks beautiful. Your outfit too. I love the style of that shirt. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that. Yeah, Linda, our resident. Anyways, maybe I won't say that. Looks like buying stuff gives you a release or something to look forward to. Maybe finding something that also fills that need. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Linda. Linda is well experienced in these things. Oh, adopted children that come with mountains of stuff. It's their safety blanket, so necessary for them to feel safe, but stressful when you've decluttered. Yeah, no, that's a tricky one. And so I think it's, anytime there's areas where we just for whatever reason have to keep a lot of inventory, the main thing is that we're keeping it organized in some fashion and not letting stuff sit on the floor. So, especially if you're just starting this process with kids and kids' bedrooms, one way to get started is just to say, we're going to have a rule that nothing can live on the floor. So every night before bed, we're going to make sure the floor is cleaned up. And that we start to realize, like, oh, this doesn't have a home. Oh, laundry's always going on the floor because too far to the laundry room, the hamper, whatever. And so we start to look at the stuff that's been accumulating there, realize what can we keep, what can't we, what stuff needs to go. But I would just work to keep it as organized as best you can and mostly try to keep the floors clear too. All right, I do want to answer a couple questions that came up last week after I shared the park model that I was looking at. So there are some really good questions that came up. I was a little surprised, well, surprised, not surprised how controversial it was. Not surprised because anytime we would talk about buying a camper too, then there was always just a lot of polarized opinions on it. So that kind of didn't surprise me, but um, I think probably what it often appears like it's an impulsive decision, even though I've been thinking about this since like last August, right? And researching and visiting and looking. So I will assure you that that it isn't impulsive. It is something that I put a lot of thought into. Good questions though about like, A mobile home is actually like the same price. Like you could get like a double wide mobile home for the same price as a lot of park models. But the tricky part about that is that on my parents' farm, they don't have any building eligibilities. So, in at least in our area, a mobile home would be considered a permanent structure that you would need a building eligibility for, and a park model is considered seasonal. And so then you don't. And so that's one of the biggest drawbacks to that. A lot of comments too about like, well, that's not actually big enough for the kids. So the idea is not to live in it. It's just to use it like a little retreat getaway, kind of like we would use a camper when we'd go camping. I mean, if you remember Peanut was tiny, like bunks of fold down couch and then the bed. And so I've experienced that you don't. I mean, this would be way head and shoulders above like any of the campers we had. And so I'm not too worried about the size of it because of how we would be using it. It's not meant that like we would live in it when the kids are at my parents' house with me. And then also concerns about like the insulation. Could you use it in the winter? So the one with the blue cabinets that I was filming in, that's actually one I didn't even think about it on the video to mention that because the weather's getting warmer here finally in Minnesota. But that is actually one of a big pro benefit in for that one is that the gentleman who ordered it, that the dealership that it's at, he ordered it with the best insulation in the walls upgraded and underneath too. There's different options for how you can insulate them. And then it has like the steel roof and insulation there too. So, and Anderson windows. And so, as far as efficiency for heating it, that one is actually one of the best options. Some of the other ones we looked at and went into were not as well insulated and weren't, I forget what the temperature rating was, but they really weren't meant to be used when it gets like below zero. So that's definitely a pro for the blue one. But again, then you wonder like, well, will you really use it a lot in the winter? You have to plow a path down there and all of that. And so I don't know. I think I would. I've loved going to the cabins those little cabins in Wisconsin that I showed. I went through the winter this past year. And even though, I mean, that you actually had to go outside to go to the bathroom, right? I show that this would have a bathroom inside of it. And I still loved it. Like it was still just a great place to get away to. So yeah. So I don't know if there's any other questions about that, then I can answer them too. But yeah, definitely put a lot of thought into it. And then also like, well, what do the kids think? And it's important what they think. They love the idea of it, and they kind of liked all of them. They weren't as picky about the layout. Even I thought they'd have some opinions about like how big the loft was and what they want one with a bigger loft or whatnot. And they didn't really seem to care. They kind of seemed like they would really mostly just use the loft for sleeping and whatnot. So, but yeah, they love the idea of having something like that set up where they could have friends out and we could have campfires and hang out and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so I've definitely been, involving them with the process as well. Cindy says, I wish everyone understood how great it feels to have a peaceful, decluttered home. This is how I was meant to live. Yes, well said. Everything you say makes sense. Well, thank you, Cindy. Um, yeah, I wish that too. I wish there was a way to like let everyone experience their house fully, highly simplified and decluttered for a week and just realize that they would never ever want to go back. Um, I have those videos on hushing your house. I think that is a great way to experience it and test it out. But I've also been feeling like really passionate about it again too, both going to the cabins in Wisconsin that are very simple and minimized. And then also this Airbnb where I've come to record videos and stuff. There's probably a little more inventory than necessary, but mostly very highly decluttered, simplified. And it just feels so easy to maintain it. It feels very intuitive. It feels like you want to keep it clean and tidied up, like you want to just put stuff back away after you use it because you want to keep it feeling clean and peaceful. And so it feels like everything that was hard for me in the past with keeping my house, with cleaning and tidying up and meal planning and prepping and cooking and all that, it got infinitely easier when I decluttered. And I agree with you, like, oh, this is how it's meant to be. It's not meant to be like we're beating our flesh into submission every single day, feeling like a loser and like, what the heck is wrong with me that I can't stay on top of my house? Like, it's not meant to be like that. And again, I wouldn't have thought it was the inventory that was causing all of that, but it was. And then how like my self-confidence grew and a sense of autonomy, like, okay, we can pivot when we need to. I mean, that's priceless. Like anything that we got rid of, oh my goodness, so worthwhile, right? To get to live this way. So yeah, I think you said it very well, Cindy. And so again, not to sound like a broken record, but take your house back course. It's just $94. We have a payment plan. The next all day declutter is coming up on Saturday, May 3rd. If you can't join us live, it's live from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. Replays available. The replays are just as energetic. Like we bring it all on those days. We bring the energy, the permission, like we go all out. And so it's much different than our YouTube videos. Like it's very motivating, inspiring. I would say that like that the friends that join us for that get 2 to 3 to 4 times more decluttering done in those sessions than normally that you would just on your own or watching a YouTube video, because it's very specific. We're just constantly giving you permission. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can let it go. And you really feed off of the energy of the others. I mean, we have thousands of women around the world all together working together on that day. Like you can feel the energy. I don't always know how to describe it, but it is so powerful. So if you haven't been able to do it on your own, which is totally fine and normal, that's why we created it. That's why we've had like over 30,000 women go through it with us, right? You're not alone, but may we come alongside you and support you, because you deserve, you are worthy of a simplified and decluttered home, and you shouldn't have to feel like a loser or feel stressed or anxious in your own home. That's not right, right? It should be a peaceful place that we can come home to and be like, yeah, life's a little lifey right now, but I can come home, I can let my guard down, I can recharge, and then I can face another day. So I really want that for you. And we just laugh so much and have so much fun too. So the description for that is, or the link for that is in the description. But no, thank you. I am so grateful for you. And there were some comments too of like, maybe you should take a break from YouTube or whatever. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I couldn't even like consider that. Like this gives me so much joy to get to spend time with you and to get to share what I've learned, even though, yeah, there's been a lot of crappy things that have gone on. And sometimes there's some not so nice comments too, but like all in all, I just love getting to come alongside you. And, I just see myself as like one step ahead of many of you being like, okay, keep going. Like it's good up here, right? Like it's going to be okay. Like you're not going to miss it. So come on, here we go. Like, and so it just brings me so much happiness and everything to get to do this with you. And I'm so like, I do not take you for granted, like taking your time to watch and to share the videos with friends and all that. I've never been more grateful for your love and support and all of that. So thank you. I am so grateful for you and what I get to do. So, and take your house back is just like another facet of that just like makes my heart so happy because I know it's effective and I know we have fun, and I truly believe that you will feel seen and supported and all of that. So, all right. Well, thank you for hanging out with me today for a little bit. Thank you for your kind words and comments. Yeah, I'm just so grateful. All right. I'll stop now. All right. I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.